My wife and aunt plotted to steal my inheritance through a fake divorce. So my mother secretly recorded their entire scheme and exposed them in court, leaving them with nothing. In our world, my mother Eleanor was not just a parent. She was a force of nature, a fortress, and our sole source of light in a family tree riddled with darkness. After our father's sudden passing, she didn't just crumble, she transformed her grief into granite. She took the small import-export business he left behind and, through sheer will and sleepless nights, built the Vance empire, a conglomerate that stood as a monument to his memory and her indomitable spirit. She was a self-made queen in a world that had tried to break her, and her only mission, beyond business, was to shield my younger sister Clara and me from the toxic undercurrents of our own extended family. She was our sole, unwavering protector. This story is for anyone who has ever had a parent see the danger you were blind to. It's a testament to a mother's intuition and the lengths she will go to shield her children. If you believe in the power of fierce, unconditional love and perfectly executed justice, then you need to hear this. For more tales of family, betrayal, and the battles fought behind closed doors, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let me tell you about the war we never saw coming. The most persistent shadow in our lives was my mother's younger sister, our Aunt Diana. Where my mother was strength and grace, Diana was envy and venom. She had always been jealous of my father, of our family's closeness, and ultimately, of my mother's staggering success. She saw the Vance empire not as an achievement, but as a prize she had been unfairly denied. Her toxicity was a slow-acting poison. She would make snide remarks at family gatherings, subtly undermine my mother's parenting, and try to pit Clara and me against each other. But my mother was a master strategist. She built a moat around us, deflecting every barbed comment and neutralizing every manipulative ploy with a quiet, unshakable dignity. She never cut Diana out completely. Family was a complicated tapestry for her. But she managed her like a controlled burn, ensuring the flames of her sister's resentment never reached us. Then, I met Sophia. She was breathtakingly beautiful, with an intellect that matched her looks and a charm that felt like a warm embrace. I was a young, successful heir, but I felt seen for me, not for my last name. I was completely, utterly smitten. When I introduced her to my mother, I expected the same joyful welcome she had always given my friends. Instead, I saw a flicker of something unfamiliar in her eyes. Deep, primal caution. "Alexander, she's lovely," my mother said later, her words carefully measured. "But there's a calculation in her eyes I don't trust. Please, my son, be cautious. Move slowly." I was indignant. I thought it was her overprotective nature, her history with toxic people, coloring her judgment. I believed she was being unfair, seeing ghosts where there were none. "You're overthinking, Mom," I'd say, dismissing her concerns. "She's not like Aunt Diana. She's different." My mother said nothing, but her vigilance only intensified. The wedding was a grand affair, a spectacle that Sophia orchestrated with flawless precision. My mother smiled and played her part, but her eyes were constantly scanning, analyzing. The first 6 months of marriage were a dream. Sophia was the perfect partner, attentive, loving, and seamlessly integrated into our family life. But then the cracks began to appear. She started making strange financial requests, a small investment in a friend's failing startup, a loan for her mother's medical emergency. She became critical of my family, particularly of my mother, subtly suggesting she was too controlling, that we needed to create more distance for the health of our new marriage. The culmination came exactly 1 year after our wedding. I was served with divorce papers. The claims were devastating. She alleged I was emotionally distant, verbally abusive, and that my family, led by my domineering mother, had created a hostile environment that made the marriage untenable. She was seeking a staggering settlement, a significant portion of my personal trust fund, and future inheritance. I was shattered, my world collapsing. I had failed to see the truth my mother had sensed from the very beginning. What I didn't know was that while I was blind, my mother had been conducting a covert operation. Her suspicion of Sophia had been inextricably linked to her suspicion of Diana. She had heard a whispered phone conversation between them before the wedding, a fragment that sounded too coincidental, so she began to document everything. She hired a discreet ex-military private investigator to trail them. More crucially, under the guise of a security upgrade, after a series of false alarms at the family estate, she had a state-of-the-art security system installed. Hidden within the elegant moldings of the dining room and living room, rooms where Sophia and Diana often had private chats, were microphones and pinhole cameras. For months, my mother gathered evidence. She recorded conversations where Sophia and Diana plotted, their voices cold and mercenary. She had footage of them laughing about how easily I had fallen for the act. She had audio of them planning the timing of the divorce to maximize financial gain, with Diana coaching Sophia on exactly what to say in her deposition to paint me as the villain. My mother was building a fortress of facts while I was drowning in a sea of deception. The court date arrived. I sat at the defendant's table, feeling hollowed out, as Sophia's lawyer painted a brutal, false portrait of me as a toxic mama's boy heir. I felt the judge's skeptical gaze. It felt hopeless. Then, the doors at the back of the courtroom swung open. My mother walked in, back straight, dressed in a severe, powerful black suit. She was not just a mother. She was the CEO of the Vance empire, and she was here to execute a hostile takeover of this false narrative. "Your Honor," her lawyer announced, "we have new material evidence that directly contradicts the plaintiff's testimony." With the judge's permission, my mother provided the evidence. They played the audio first. The room listened in stunned silence as Sophia and Diana's voices, clear and unmistakable, detailed their entire scheme. "He's so naive, Aunt Diana, it's almost too easy," Sophia's voice said, laced with contempt. Then they played the video from the living room, showing the two of them toasting with champagne after I had signed a prenuptial agreement they believed they could break. "To the future of the Vance empire," Diana said, her smile a terrifying thing. The judge's ruling was swift and decisive. The divorce was granted, but on grounds of fraud and duress. Sophia got nothing, not a single cent. The look on her face was a grotesque mask of shattered greed and fury, but the war wasn't over. Cornered and humiliated, Sophia turned feral. She began a campaign of terror, threatening to go to the media with twisted stories to ruin the Vance name forever. She sent anonymous emails, made threatening phone calls. She thought we would pay her to stay silent. She had underestimated my mother for the last time. Eleanor Vance did not negotiate with terrorists. Instead of hiding, my mother went on the offensive. She published a carefully curated but devastating selection of the evidence on a private, password-protected website. She then sent the link to every major media outlet, every family member, and every one of Sophia's and Diana's social contacts. The message was clear. If you speak a single lie, the entire truth will be unleashed upon the world. The result was absolute social annihilation for them. Their reputations were obliterated. Facing total exposure and potential civil lawsuits for defamation and fraud, they did the only thing they could. They packed their belongings in the dead of night and disappeared. We heard rumors they had fled to another country, their tails between their legs, their poisonous plot a complete and utter failure. The silence that settled back into our lives was profound. My mother never said, "I told you so." She simply took me in her arms one evening and said, "My job is to protect you, Alexander, even from the things you can't see, even from the things you don't want to see." She had not just saved my fortune, she had saved my future. The fortress had held, the matriarch had prevailed, and the two snakes who had tried to poison our perfect life were banished forever, defeated by the one woman whose love was stronger than their greed. Love was stronger than their greed.